Hey, I'm Scott with the Dynamics Post, and welcome back to the channel. What we're going to talk about today is doing a reduce pick during the sales orders process in Dynamics 365 Advanced Warehouse. So lots of circumstances can arise that you'll need to be able to reduce pick an item. For example, when the person was entering in the sales order, they may have entered in too many. The customer may have called, they don't want that item anymore. So lots of different circumstances where you may need to be able to reduce pick the item. And this will typically be done after you've started picking. Maybe you've started picking a work and you realize it and you need to go ahead and reduce the pick, okay? So the important things to remember here is you need to go ahead and finish out the work. So even if you started the work and you haven't gotten to the item, I would go ahead and pick it and complete that work before attempting this process. In fact, you have to complete the work before you can attempt this process, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and complete the work. You do not confirm the shipment at that point. You'll leave the shipment unconfirmed. The shipment will show it a loaded status. So you'll have the item at the bay door, okay? So let's take a look at an example of how you're going to do that. All right, so let's take a look at this process to reduce pick on a sales order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Sales and Marketing. I'm going to go to All Sales Orders, and I'm going to create a new sales order. The account I'm going to use is US-004, and my warehouse I'm going to use today is 24. We'll go ahead and say OK to that to create our sales order. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 lines. I'm going to add an A0001, and I'll put 2 of those on there. And then I'll add an A0002, and I'll just add 1 of those. Now the A0002 is the one that I'm going to short here. If we flip over to and look at the on hand there, this is the location I'm going to pick it from, is this FL020. So there's 210 there. It's going to show you the on hand before and after there. So we got 2 lines. Automatic reservations are on, so reservations of these items have already been reserved there when I add them. All right, so I'm going to go to the warehouse, and then I'm going to go to Release to Warehouse to create some work. All right, and so our work has been created, and I'm going to go and pull up the work details, and I'm going to go and pick this work. So I'm going to copy that work ID and go over to my mobile device. And I'm just in a user-defined picking for sales picking. If you're not familiar with that, I'll link the sales picking video here. But I'm just going to go into sales picking and then paste in that ID and say OK. And the license plate of the A0001 is going to be 24 on the shelf there. So I'm going to put 24 in there. And it's going to generate my target license plate automatically for me. So I'll say OK to that. And then the A0002 doesn't have a license plate on the shelf. So it's just going to have me put it to the target license plate there. And it's in this location, this FL20. I'm going to need that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And we're going to say OK. And then it's going to tell me to put it to the bay door. Okay, so to actually reduce pick that now, so we're going to go back to our sales order. I'm going to hit refresh here just to show that our work is closed. And then let's go ahead and look at our on hand before we move on. So I'm going to refresh this screen. It was 210. So now I'm showing 209 because it's at the bay door. And I'm going to close the screen. So I'll go back to the sales order screen. And where we want to do the reduce pick from is from the shipment here. So if I go ahead and go to the shipment details, you can get to this in a couple different ways. I'm going to get it to it from the sales order. And we look at our load lines. We have 2 load lines here for A0001 for 2 and A0002 for 1. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to highlight the line that we want to reduce, which is the A0002, and we're going to click on the reduce pick quantity. Now we'll make a note that you do need to make sure that you have your work completed before you do this step. It needs to be at the bay door. Just basically needs to be finished before you actually do this step. You can't confirm the shipment, but the work for the line item needs to be completed. All right, so the first thing I'm going to fill in up here is the move to location. So I want to move it back to that FL020 location. And I can specify a license plate if there's a license plate associated with the location, but then this location doesn't use license plates, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in this amount here. So this is the inventory quantity to unpick there. So I've got 1 there. And notice I've got the reduce load line quantity is checked here. Okay. So I'm going to, once I have that filled in, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And notice how the line goes away on the load line goes away, and because it went to 0, it went away. All right, as you can see in that last example, it's pretty simple and straightforward to do. You just need to make sure the work has been picked before you attempt it, and make sure that the shipment hasn't been confirmed yet. So real simple process. The other thing to notice when I was doing that, the decrement load lines was automatically checked. That's controlled by a single parameter setting. We're going to take a look at that here in the next example of how that's set. That's important to have, go ahead and set it that way if you don't have under delivery set up, because what's going to happen is when you reduce that to 0, it's going to say, and you try and confirm the shipment, it's going to say that it exceeds the amount allowed, percentage amount allowed for under delivery. Again, I'll show that in the example here coming up next. So let's take a look at that one parameter setting. Again, I'd recommend having that set to yes unless you're using under delivery. All right, in that last example, we saw that that load line was automatically decrementing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the parameter that does that. So if I go under, it's going to be underneath the warehouses. So if I go under warehouse management, underneath setup, then warehouse, and then warehouses. If I go look at warehouse 24 here, and then there's a reduce pick quantity parameter here. So decrement load line, I'll change that back to no. I generally prefer to have this set at yes because I want the load line to automatically decrement. Otherwise, you might run into issues with over and under delivery. You'll get a message, and that's what it basically the tooltip here says. You know, full loads need to be shipped even though the pick quantity's been reduced. So let's take a look at the effect of that. So if we go back to the sales order, we'll create a new sales order. US-04 for warehouse 24. Add A0001, 2 of those, and A0002 for 1 of those. We'll go ahead and release it to the warehouse. And we'll go to the work details, copy the work ID. Paste that in there. We'll pick that item. Go to target license plate, pick the second item, and then put it to the bay door. So again, if we look at our on hand, we've got 209 there, right? So let's go to the shipment again, and we'll go to warehouse and shipment details. And we'll highlight the same line, the A0002, go to reduce pick quantity. Notice that the reduced load line quantity is not checked now by default. So I'm going to put 1 there and FL-020, and we'll say OK. All right, so notice that the load line is still there. So if I go and confirm the shipment, because I don't have under delivery set up, it's going to say that exceeds the percentage defined for under delivery. So if you have under delivery set up, you can do this, but what you can do to correct this is I could manually delete the line and then go ahead and confirm the shipment now. And now it's confirmed the shipment and it's shipped. So just to work around, if you forget to check that parameter and you don't have under delivery set up, you can go and just remove the line manually. So as you can see, there's a single parameter setting on this one. I would go ahead and check it. Generally, I leave that checked and have it automatically decrement the load lines. Optionally, you know, if you are kind of using a under delivery, you can manually check that checkbox to decrement the load. You can also just manually delete the lines if you need to there. Okay, so I hope you found some value in this video. If you did, please give it a like, thumbs up. That helps the distribution of the video, helps more people see it. When YouTube sees that people like the video, it expands the distribution of the video and more people get to see it. And I put out one of these videos about once a week. Sometimes I'm doing 2 a week. This week I'm doing 2 a week. So if you like this content, feel free to subscribe. You'll get notified when I upload a new video. Okay, so until next time, thanks for watching.